Hi,
Hello, you're right.
we're back
This
after a
is
week
nice.
off.
Yeah, I've missed your face so much.
Have you?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
I've
nice,
missed
isn't
the
it?
podcast as well.
I missed the podcast, not just my face.
Well, no, I said as well. I've missed your face first and
Mm.
then the
Yep,
podcast.
okay, all right.
Oh my
I don't miss
God.
my face. I don't miss my face.
Well, you get to see it
Well,
every day.
you'll be pleased to know I got a notebook because in celebration of the fact that we've got 1,000 downloads,
Whoop whoop! We
and I
need
thought, right, I'm going to be professional.
we need
I'm going to make notes.
we need balloons or something, don't we, to celebrate this 1,000 downloads? I'd forgotten about that in my
I've not got any,
excitement.
I haven't got any balloons. You've got some flowers behind you. That's
Yeah,
right.
flowers are celebratory. Celebratory, is that the word?
Yeah,
Yeah,
celebratory. Yeah.
that's fine.
Oh, don't start with the menopausal words
I
already.
don't know. I
30
have been bad.
seconds in.
I've been bad this week. I have been.
Make up your own words.
It's fine. We do that, like hobby snobbery.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. Hobby snobbery. Someone did leave me a message the other day saying, hobby snobbery.
It's
Yeah.
my favorite thing in the world.
You knew that was a thing.
Um,
Brilliant.
so we have finally got round to a very special episode, but before we get on to that, welcome to Midlife No Crisis. Get that in before we
Yeah.
forget. How's your, well, 2 weeks been? What have you been up to?
Oh, 2 weeks. I've
Yeah.
not really. Oh, yeah. Well, I can tell you what I've done this week.
Okay, good.
Last week is gone
Yeah.
from my mind.
Distant
Yeah,
memory.
you're lucky I've remembered this week, really. Um, so this week, what have I had? Well, Olivia's in Vietnam and she keeps sending me all these amazing
Oh, I
videos of her,
love that one
like,
you sent me. It was so
I
good.
know. Oh, and it amazing. Cycling
Yeah.
through the mountains, just loving life. There's nothing better than your kids just being happy and sending you things like that.
Oh,
It just lifted me up this week. I was like, oh, this is great.
what a
Little
nice thing
videos
to
every
say.
day. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so as I was watching that, I went and got my rucksack out and started putting like flip-flops in and shorts. I'm not going for 5 weeks, but I thought I'd get ahead of the game.
Yeah, well, it's exciting, isn't
Start,
it? Packing.
yeah. So I started packing, which is not like me because I'm normally a day before packer.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, I thought, well, it's winter here, get more of the summer stuff out.
Yeah, nice.
Um, And oh, I'll tell you what I did do. Neil will be interested in this.
Okay.
So on Tuesday morning, I went to our local swimming pool, which is literally a minute walk from my house, and they have got an art installation, which is a massive sun over the pool.
Oh, cool.
So it's loads and loads of photographs of the sun all put together. It's like a canvas,
Yeah.
and they've got it like flickering. They've got the light flickering and music playing when you're in there. Honestly, it was so good.
Is it like spherical or is it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
It's like massive
Yes.
sun hanging over the pool. So you get the light. It's like you're in. It's like you're in the sun.
So I think there's we're going off on a tangent, Shocker, but there is an
Yeah.
artist. So we had the Earth up here, and I think it did a tour of
Right.
the UK as well, actually.
Well, the sun's coming to Manchester. That's what I was going
Yeah.
to tell you.
And I
Yeah.
think the moon, think they've had the moon as well. I don't know, I might be making that up. But
Oh,
yeah, it might be
right.
the same artist that does
Oh,
it.
it might be. Well, there you go.
Ah,
So that
cool.
cheered me up
Yeah, that's
on a
nice.
miserable Tuesday morning. Because I
Yeah,
don't know about you, but the weather. I'm
shocking.
done with this weather now.
Hmm.
Done. Enough of the
Yeah,
rain.
I know.
So
Our
yeah.
garden is like a lake, and it's
Is it?
just,
Oh,
yeah, just
everywhere's
depressing.
underwater.
I know.
Bad times. Bad times for the southwest. It's underwater. And the M5 was shut today as well.
Oh, was it? Because
Yeah, both ways. No, I don't know what happened. Police
okay.
incident, don't know. But but
Just another shit thing to add to the list.
there's been traffic hell today. Traffic hell. Everyone's talking about the traffic hell. Yeah. So there you go. But not me because I was in my house and I was fine.
Nice, nice, nice,
There you go.
nice.
Anyway, how's your week?
Well, I've obviously been heroically looking after my husband and my daughter, who's got tonsillitis.
Oh,
Um,
what?
I know, but she's a bit more
Oh,
hardcore. She was off on Tuesday. She went in Wednesday, played netball, got player of the match, and then was off again on Thursday.
honestly.
Yeah, I was like,
Oh, no way.
to do it, but yeah,
Oh, I
she's
love the
absolutely gorgeous.
resilience.
Yeah, Yeah, she's good. But Neil's finally better. Oh yeah, it's tested my levels of patience. I am not any sort of Mother Teresa, I have to say.
No,
I'm not
I'm not
Florence
very good at it.
Nightingale. I would never have been a good nurse.
No, I wouldn't. I'd been awful.
I affected like this personality whenever I went into the bedroom. He had proper flu, so he was like shivering. Are you
Oh,
okay? How's things in here? Can I get you anything? It's like, who am I? This is not my voice.
did you?
Yeah.
Not just throw things at him and shut the door.
Oh no, I felt tight because he did feel really poorly, but I have to say towards the end of it, like these last couple of days where he's definitely better, and I've been sleeping in Lottie's room with her, so I've getting no sleep as it is, and I'm
Oh,
like going in and have you slept last night? Oh yeah, I slept much better last night. I was like, oh, good for you, lucky you.
very gritted teeth.
Yeah. So, no, but at least he's better. So that's the main thing. But that's literally absorbed my whole week. I've just done nothing. I've literally
Oh
just
dear.
run around and done all the mum tasks and taxiing and stuff like that. So very boring. Nothing to report,
Oh,
really.
oh, never mind. No swimming under sunshines.
No swimming under sunshine, sadly.
No,
No.
never mind.
So, should we get on with our main episode? Because I'm really
Yes,
excited. Because
I'm quite excited. Yeah,
I'm going to just double check again. Yes, we are recording. I can confirm it is recording.
yeah. As for the listeners, this was the one that we did not record, but we all had a lovely chat for 2 hours, didn't we?
We had a lovely chat on a Friday night, so I'm hoping
Yeah.
we'll be able
So
to
we,
just recreate it all
yeah,
or do
it's
better.
fine. We always do better. We strive to do better.
Strive to do better.
There we
So, shall we welcome, without further ado, our special guest, just as she's taking a drink?
go. She can have a
Take a
drink.
mouthful of food just as I was about to say it. That's what normally happens, isn't it? Um, so, welcome to our podcast, Pat Wilson.
Hello, Katie and Katie. Thank you for having me on again.
I
Take
know
two.
again. Here I am again. I promise you I'm recording it. I promise you it's definitely going to work
It's
this
fine.
time. So
More professional.
Pat is joining us today, and Pat and I have known each other for, well, we worked it out, didn't we? Quite easily, 16 years,
Yeah,
because we met at baby class.
we did meet at baby class in a mum's support group for breastfeeding.
That's correct. I think I lasted 5 minutes when the woman started getting out nibbles for a toddler that consisted of carrot sticks and hummus. I was like, yeah, this is not
I
my group.
remember very clearly. And I think that reminds me of one of your episodes I was listening to this week about when you meet people and you think, I could be friends with you, but I don't think I'd be friends with you.
Yeah, no.
That's why we became friends.
Yeah, we found each other quite quickly, didn't we? Yeah.
We
And
did.
the lovely thing is the girls are still friends and 16 years on, they've
Oh,
been at dance together and all sorts of things, haven't they? And that's really
oh, it's
nice.
Yeah.
lovely.
So,
Oh, that's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Well,
they are
Olivia's in
friends.
Vietnam with her best friend who she met when she was 2 months old. And
Oh,
Um,
he was 5 days old, I think. Obviously, like we introduced them like as
yeah,
babies, but yeah, they've been
yeah.
friends ever since.
Oh,
oh,
that's special. I hope that
Yeah.
happens for Lois and Freya.
I know. Yeah, definitely. Well, as long as they stay friends, it's just, I always think friendships that's grounded in something like strong like that work so much better because it's a bit like family, isn't it? You kind of, you know, they'll always be there, even if you don't necessarily speak to them every day or every
Mm,
week.
Yeah,
Oh, that's nice. So, Pat, I suppose we should start with a little bit of an introduction to what you do. Should we start there? Do you want to tell
yeah,
us
that
what you
sounds
do?
good.
Hmm.
I'll tell you what to do. So, I have a business called Rebound Hypnotherapy, and I help people with symptoms of stress, anxiety, depression. It comes in all sorts of forms. The different people I help. Um, I help people with sports performance. I help people with maybe that are stressed because of work. help people that maybe have sleep issues. I help people with menopausal and perimenopause issues, which I'm sure we all know quite a lot about
Mm.
at the moment. So yeah, so I had a bit of a career shift, a big career change. And yeah, so
Excellent.
don't know
Well,
Can we
really
ask
what
you
else to
about
say.
that?
well,
Can I ask you? Yeah,
before we
sorry,
go
go
into
on.
that, so I'm being professional now. I'm going to throw it forwards to the end of the podcast. If everyone can
Hmm.
stay listening at the end of the podcast, we'll give you a bit of information on how to find Pat, and we'll talk about perhaps a little introductory discount as well. So stay listening, and we'll talk about that at the end of the podcast. And then back to you, Katie Curry.
Well, as I was rudely interrupted there, no, I'm joking.
I've been professional.
Um, you were being professional. It's very professional. I'm professional. I've got a notepad and everything. I was gonna, I was gonna say, Pat, just while you were, I was just picking up on the fact that you just said you had a career change, and I have spoken to quite a lot of people. I would say probably mainly women, but not just women, who are feeling a bit disillusioned at this stage of their life and are thinking of a career change, but are quite scared to death about
Mm.
doing it. So I would
Yeah.
like to hear about your story as to like why you decided to do it and how you've done it.
Yeah, so I was a secondary school teacher, a PE teacher for 24 years in total, full time. And I think towards the end, before I finally finished, I was just noticing that it was just getting too much. I think everything was getting too much. The travel to and from school, it was getting long. Excuse me, it was getting longer every day. I think the challenges at work were getting harder. Um, Working full time with two children that I'm also a taxi for. I'm sure we can relate to that as well. That you're
Yeah.
driving around a lot. Weekends are busy, and I think it was getting a lot. And then kind of with COVID and everything, I think it opened my eyes up to being at home more. A lot of people did not like COVID. I enjoyed a lot of COVID in terms of just not being in the car every day and the ability to
Mm.
work from home. I thought was fantastic. But then, unfortunately, in that time as well, as a family, we had quite a lot of losses and a couple of big losses really. So in that time I lost my mum as well, and I think all the challenges that were already there, losing my mum was, I think, obviously the toughest thing. I lost my granny, I
Yeah.
lost my mum within 12 months of each other, and that was obviously tough for the family, but tough for my mental well-being as well. And I think what it did, maybe part of the silver lining in that, was I think it gave me permission to say, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
a lot of it boiled down to, I did love teaching. I don't think you do it for that long. I did love it, and I still like it. And I was in at my old school yesterday, and I came away feeling wonderful,
Yeah.
not just
Oh,
seeing
nice.
old colleagues, but seeing old students. And it was wonderful. But I think it's a lot. And I think
Mm.
losing my mum just gave me permission to step away. Um, and kind of think that maybe the most challenging thing and was maybe the financial step away was going to be challenging. And I
Mm.
think maybe what people would think was maybe a challenge, but I
Mm.
think it gave me permission to be like that life's too short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's put your big girl pants on
Yeah.
and let's make this work, because I kept hearing myself in my head and saying to my husband, I can't keep doing this.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah,
I
it's funny, isn't
cannot
it?
keep doing this.
And I do think that we get to this point in our life and have that realization, but by this point in our life, we're so tied to the lives that we've got, to the money that we earn, to the kids, to the house, to looking after parents and all that kind of thing, that you come to the realization, but you almost feel even more trapped by your life. But I was listening to I can't remember the lady's name or anything about her, but Menopause. The nurse from Australia who wrote the book about people's deathbed regrets, and I think there were like five, like a top five, if you like, and they wouldn't. None of them were, I wish I'd kept that career going, or I wish I'd stayed in work longer, or it was always, I wish I'd done what I wanted to do, and I think that might be the top one actually. Something
Yeah, it
around
is.
I wish I hadn't lived to
I
someone.
wish
Did
I'd
I
lived
send
the
it
life
yet?
I wanted.
Did I send
It's
it
something
yet?
like that.
Yeah. And that really struck me because if you really wanted to do something and you're an absolute shining light for this, just do it. It's not going to be easy, but just do it
Yeah,
because it's the things
yeah.
that you don't do that you regret, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't feel like a shining light. I just feel like that's just what needed to happen.
Mm.
And I think the way I managed to kind of make that happen, I was quite fortunate, and I was quite, I don't know, I had like when I decided that I wanted to train to become a solution focused hypnotherapist, it all happened very quickly, and that was probably quite a good thing. And I started training, and then I think after module 2, I thought, I know, it was like a big light bulb moment. I know what I can do here. And I
Mm.
managed to kind of create an opportunity within the work that I was in to kind of hybrid it. So I gave myself, and they agreed, which was fantastic and really grateful for. So for 12 months, I had a hybrid of still working full time, but teaching and the hypnotherapy. So I think it allowed that adjustment of kind of lifestyle, not financially because I still had that security, but yeah, I think because it was gradual, it didn't feel, it's not felt such a kind of,
Mm.
I don't feel like I've done anything amazing, but I think there's people before me that have done it and kind of shown that it's possible.
Mm.
Have you always had an interest in it, or was it a new
Not
thing?
not really, Katie.
Hypnotherapy. Yeah.
I became interested in it after I'd lost my mum,
Right.
because
Okay.
through work you're offered on the employee assist program, which a lot of businesses employees offer.
Mm.
Um, they suggested I try counselling, which I did, because you feel like you want to make the effort, you
Yeah.
know, to I wanted to feel better. I'd had a bit of time off work, gone back, and it was just difficult. And I was feeling like I was dragging my backside through life, really. So I tried the counselling, and it just wasn't for me. I didn't really want to talk about what had happened.
Mm.
No.
I couldn't change what had happened.
Mm.
And generally, there was a lot I was grateful for with my mum. I was grateful to have a fantastic mum. I didn't really want to go over,
Mm.
so, and that's what kind of counselling was encouraging me to do. So I looked for something else, and I think that's where the interest stemmed from. When I met a lady that does what I do now, it was fantastic, and I really believe in it, and I really bought into it, and it was really, really helpful. And some of the things, the neuroscience and some of the understandings that I learned have helped me as a teacher. And I was like, it helps me as a mum, it helps me as a friend. So I really believe in the benefits of it and the knowledge you gain from it.
Mm.
Do you want to
Yeah.
explain what solutions-based hypnotherapy is, just in case anyone doesn't understand it?
I always find this really hard to explain what it is. I always find it really hard. So solution focused hypnotherapy is a type of therapy that works with the client to focus on solutions to the issues rather than kind of try and delve into what's caused the issue.
Mm.
So we might never find out why we're feeling, why we're having a panic attack, or why we're waking up in the night, or why you're scared of driving on the motorway, or why you can't just stop at one glass of wine and you need the whole bottle, or whatever. But we might never get to the point of understanding that. So the kind of belief is we don't try and understand it. We try and retrain the brain to manage the symptoms of it or overcome the symptoms of it. So solution hypnotherapy does that really, really well. So we work with clients to rewire the brain, which sounds very invasive, but it really isn't. We do that through positive conversation, healthy positive conversation. We do that through understanding the brain. We talk about the brain in quite simplistic terms of having an intelligent mind and having an emotional mind. And when we're suffering symptoms of anxiety or stress or depression and the symptoms it creates and the impact it has, we're spending more time in our emotional brain. And what the hypnotherapy does is when we understand that, we can practice spending more time in the intelligent brain. And when we're in an intelligent brain, we're in control, we're logical, we see things from a better perspective. When we blend that with other parts of the session, which is like a gentle goal setting part, setting a kind of preferred future and how we get there, alongside the restorative relaxation or the trance, it's an amazing sweet spot to make change and lasting change. So it's quite hard to I'd never feel like I explain it
No,
very
you did
well.
explain it. Yeah, you did.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say like so much about like learning about the brain because, and I know we touched on this last time, but when like the amount of conversations that you have, especially with women our age, and it's about sleep and people not sleeping and waking up in the night and panicking, and it's awful at this time. And I remember you saying about like your REM sleep and processing what's gone on in the day, and that really it was so interesting when you were saying about that because it just made sense.
Yeah, and it does make sense, and I think obviously there was no one I really knew within my friendship circle. I've not got loads of friends or within work or anything that really knew about it, about solution focused hypnotherapy. People had, I think, would maybe heard bits and pieces about the brain that's been going on, and I think it's becoming more relevant all the time. There's definitely with am I allowed to mention the Diary of a CEO? He quite often has neuroscientists on there.
Yeah.
And I think there's more of it happening. But what I like about it's kind of moving away. This solution focused or hypnotherapy maybe had a bit of a stigma around it. It was maybe classed as a bit woo-woo or stage hypnosis. Got a lot of people saying, "Oh, you're going to turn me into a chicken," and it's just really not like that. It's really, we really need to try and remove this. Thank you for having me on here because it gives me, I suppose, a platform to bust the myths around it and make people understand it a little bit more and how helpful it can be.
It's fascinating,
it's important
isn't it?
that you have, sorry, go on.
No, you go.
I was just saying it's important that you have like those tools though, isn't it? Because I remember somebody telling me that when you can't sleep in the night, it's about like breathing and things like that. I had never thought about it before and it did help me. And it was one simple thing, and that's probably a solution, isn't it? I suppose.
And that's it. That's a solution. So when you mentioned the like kind of the perimenopause and the menopause, and there's so many hormone changes going on at that point, and what the solution focused hypnotherapy does, it's not a cure. I wish it was a cure because I wouldn't be I wouldn't be sitting talking to you here now if I had the cure for perimenopause. Oh, of course I would. I shouldn't say that. But what it does, it can help reduce the symptoms of it because when we've got this, some of the hormones released in perimenopause are activating some of the stress hormones in our body. So what solution focused hypnotherapy does, it will counteract that and help us feel more relaxed. So it can help with symptoms of it, which one of the things. It can help with sleep. And like you say, when we understand some of the techniques and some of the solutions to it, we can apply those when we need them. And
Mm.
breathing techniques is one of them. And the
Yeah.
restorative relaxation is another one.
Mm.
I think it's something that we almost need to start educating people on so much earlier. I mean, the kids have done quite a bit at primary school now around mindfulness and that kind of thing, and they are much more switched on to it. But often people don't come across these things until they've either got a problem or till they're later in life. And I just think we could sort of, we've got such a problem with anxiety and, things, we've got this kind of issue with the NHS with ADHD being kind of
Mm.
overprescribed. And, I just wonder if people understood their brains a bit better and understood neurology a little bit better, then perhaps that would help people to help themselves a bit more. What do you think
Yeah.
are the most common issues that you deal with? Kind of what are the most regular things that people come to you with?
It's really, really varied. Excuse me, stress and anxiety. The symptoms, it's a bit like, I suppose, perimenopause and menopause. There are there's loads of different things it creates. Sleep problems, racing heart rate, sweating, blushing, bedwetting, eating disorders, suicidal thoughts. So people come for all sorts of reasons.
Mm,
The symptoms that are presented are all sorts of symptoms. And those symptoms, whatever's kick that off, it can result in people not wanting to leave the house. It can result in OCD tendencies. It can result in time off work. So I see people and children, like you've said, is a big one at the moment. So, and things can be triggered, exams. So
mm,
can trigger it, and then we might get school refusal and ADHD symptoms, and all sorts of things are kind of filling this metaphorical stress bucket that everyone has. When
mm,
that stress bucket, I think, becomes too full for too long, or one extra thing goes in the stress bucket, like exams or a family, a bereavement or a separation, extra things go in it, and it tips
mm,
children or adults over the edge,
Mm.
which creates these symptoms. And you're right, the National Health Service is overwhelmed with need.
mm,
And I'm hearing stories of the waiting lists being really, really long, or not even being put on the waiting list because it's not a crisis
yeah.
situation. So, unfortunately, people are having to turn to other alternatives, private alternatives, and schools don't always have the funding to offer.
No.
Like you say, it's fabulous. I think there's been more mindfulness in schools,
Mm,
um, certainly at a primary school level. And that mindfulness is so powerful. And I've got to say, it's one thing that I was maybe a bit skeptical about
mm,
in terms of, mindfulness and what really is it. But if you're giving your brain a chance to rest, that is so powerful for our
Mm.
nervous system. So
Yeah.
whether it's colouring, walking, noticing what's going on in the walk. I have loom bands here. So if children come to me and they don't like closing their eyes and the relaxation, they are like little machines making loom bands, or they colour in and they just listen to the words whilst doing it, and just giving our mind a chance to stop. Because if our mind's not busy worrying about things, we've got this in our
Oh,
hands
yeah.
yeah.
It's that
Mm.
overstimulation constantly, isn't it?
all the time.
Yeah.
It's true. It's funny actually because it connects really nicely with what we talked about not last week, the week before with hobbies, doesn't it? I mean, we were talking about hobbies in terms of something to do with yourself, but actually, I guess it's a way of being mindful, but
Mm.
maybe also creating something. So, you talked about loom bands, but you know, messing around in the garden, all that sort of thing. You can do it
Yeah.
mindfully, can't you?
Absolutely everything. And again, I sound like a super fan now, but I was listening to your episode about you doing floristry
Yeah.
lessons. And I think these hobbies, um, whatever it is, are more than likely taking you out of the house. So they're giving you some sort of purpose. You will more than likely be doing it with other people. So it's giving you positive interactions. It's a positive activity that you can just get on and do. And you're probably having some sort of thoughts about it at night. So maybe, for example, you've got into bed at night, Katie, and you might be telling Neil about it, or you might think, I'm quite pleased with that. Or next
Mm.
week, I'm going to maybe try working with a different flower. So what your brain's doing is it's thinking about something a lot more purposeful than maybe worrying about a meeting you've got at work the
Mm.
next day or an interaction you've maybe had that wasn't so positive. So hobbies are hit your 4 Ps, and 4 Ps are a massive part of what we talk about in hypnotherapy.
Okay. Well, that's really interesting. So I want to hear, because we talked in the episode, the infamous unrecorded episode, you talked us through the stress bucket, and I think that's a really useful tool. And this week, as everybody who's listening, you can actually go and watch us this week because we're going to put our episode up on YouTube because we feel special because we've got 1,000 downloads. And Katie's not had her hair done, which is disappointing.
No, sorry.
But
You're telling me
um,
my hair looks bad.
no. See,
Lovely.
That was a diss.
you are so sensitive.
No, I
Um,
am not.
but I think it would be really nice to talk about that stress bucket. And I think going back to a point that Katie made before about REM sleep or REM sleep or whatever we call it, I think they're points that are really useful
Mm.
and certainly give you massive takeaways in terms of things that you can definitely do different. But also just throwing forward to our crisis talks episode on Wednesday, Pat's going to stay with us, and we're going to get a bit more specific because I think perimenopause and menopause are topics that we have talked about in the past, and I think that's something we could definitely dig into a little bit more detail as well.
Mm.
So I noticed on our notes that Katie had written a little note to us. We write down questions and things that we want to talk about, and she's put, "How can we stop Katie overthinking?" Because I
How
am
can
the
we
queen of
Big
stop
one.
Katie
overthinking.
overthinking?
So tell us about a stress bucket then.
A stress bucket. Would you like a
Mm.
little visual
I
saying
would
as we're
love a
on
little visual
Yeah.
because I loved the little visual
YouTube?
last time.
Anyone that knows me knows I love my stress bucket and I love my balls. So we have a little metaphorical stress bucket here. And whoever's stress bucket this is, I'd like to know them because it's totally empty.
Yeah, jealous.
So we'll all have things in our stress bucket, and some things will sit in there for a period. It could be financial worries, it could be bereavement that we've talked about. It's maybe a stressful job. Um, but if we can keep our stress bucket relatively low. And we need a bit of stress in life because it gives us a bit of get up and go, and it gives us, a little bit of adrenaline sometimes is nice. But so if we can keep our stress bucket nice and low and manageable, we will cope in life, and we will be positive and logical and rational and motivated and happy. But the more negative thoughts we have, the more our stress bucket. It's a bit blurry. I don't know how to kind of get it. The more our stress bucket will fill. So if we're thinking negatively about a situation and we're worrying about it, doesn't the negative thinking causes the anxiety? It's not very often, it's not the actual situation that causes the anxiety, it's how we think about the situation. Because most situations happen once. So if we were worrying about a meeting at work, the meeting happens once, but we can often worry about that meeting lots of times.
Yeah.
And the meeting comes and the meeting goes. And most of the time, the meeting's fine. There was nothing to worry about. But we filled our stress bucket with negative thoughts and thinking about it. Okay. So, I don't know if this is maybe a good example, Katie, with your daughter. You said she's in Vietnam. You have
Mm.
probably imagined every
Yeah.
possible situation that could occur. And it's very unlikely any of those situations could happen. And I've done it myself with my daughter. I'm like to go to a party on Friday night. This was a few months ago, and I'd filled my stress bucket with negative thinking in about 30 seconds. She'd gone from asking to go to the party to being dead in a ditch in my head
Yeah, you do.
from there. And then you've created all these physical symptoms of anxiety with your imagination. That's how powerful your brain is. The imagination creates real symptoms. So, so now that you understand that, in terms of reducing that, or maybe not preventing it 100%, but when we recognize, let's stop a minute. Let's hit that pause button. This isn't really happening, Katie. Okay. So we can try and divert our thoughts to something else. So there's some research by a person called, I think it's Michael Gakpo, who talks about a barking dog. So if we're walking down the street and there's a dog tied up to a fence and it's like, barking away, we can we would more than likely look at it, but we don't have to go over and start touching and start speaking to the dog. And that's a little bit like our overthinking and our worries. We can recognize we've got them, but we don't have to give them loads of attention. We can carry on walking past with the rest of our day. So if you were having overthinking about something, you can go, I'm overthinking about this, but oh, look at the bird out the window.
Mm.
That's nice. And you know what? I might make myself a cup of tea and go outside and see if I can see any other birds. And what you're doing there is you're diverting your thoughts away from what's happening. You're distracting your brain. So there's lots of different ways we can do that with the 4 Ps that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can recognize that you're overthinking, we can try and hit pause with that, which is easier said than done. And it takes practice, because if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. So it does take practice. The other thing that we can be aware of, as well as like, and we'll have seen this on social media, I'm sure, is the circles of control. So some things we worry about are within our control. So if we were worrying about, say, I think my car's going to break down, what can we do about that? What would you do if you thought your car was going to break down? You would more than likely book it into the garage.
Mm.
But we can worry about that and worry about it. We can do something about that. So take action. But then some things are not within our control. And that's the difficult thing. If we can't do anything about it, we accept it and we move on.
Yeah.
There you go,
Well,
Katie.
I
Solved.
know, solve my overthinking.
Yeah, and that's it. I don't want to sound flippant about it because it, if it was
Yeah.
that easy, we'd all be doing it. But we can practice, because the more we
Yeah.
practice a different way of thinking or a different way of doing things, we can create new neural pathways. It takes time and effort.
Mm. So just remind me what the 4 Ps are.
We have positive thinking, we have positive interactions, positive activities, and positive purpose.
Okay. We used to have it on the wall in our house because I think we mentioned it last time, but obviously not this time yet. So Pat did help Lottie out a little bit because Lottie was struggling a little bit with anxiety and sleep. So we had a little poster on the wall at home with those 4 Ps on for a long time actually. And it really does help. What does a REM sleep give you? How does that help to solve some of that stress bucket?
REM sleep it's rapid eye movement sleep, and rapid eye movement sleep processes the thoughts of the day. It takes the emotions out of the thoughts. Really important for But I know our girls are going to be doing their GCSEs soon. So it's kind of like hitting a save button on the computer as well, good REM sleep. So it happens throughout the night. It doesn't all happen at one point. So it's not like, right, you've been asleep 2 hours, you're getting your 20% of REM. It happens at different points. Now, if your stress bucket is full, you imagine your stress bucket like an ice cream cone with a Mr. Whippy on the top. The REM sleep starts reducing that Mr. Whippy. But if you've got too much in there, it will try and empty it. And if it can't empty it, it wakes you up in the night. And that's why we can wake up, at the same time every night and we can't get back to sleep. So it's important then in our daily lives that we're doing things that help empty the stress bucket so that when we do get to sleep, our REM can do its job of kind of removing what's there. So if we were to look at an image of the brain during REM sleep, it's very exhaustive on the brain. There's a lot of oxygen being used on the brain. So it's costly for the brain to do it. So that's why it will wake you up if it's trying to overdo it, because it's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I need to wake up now because I've exhausted myself.
So
So
you said something when we last talked about this, and we didn't get a chance to dig into it, so I'm going to do it now. We've got the opportunity to. We talked about the smartwatches, which I have, and how they report back on your sleep. And I'm about to get rid of this because I decided the other day that I'm fed up of tracking every bloody thing that I do, tracking steps, tracking sleep, tracking exercise. And but it's really interesting on the sleep thing because it tells you in the morning whether you've had a good sleep or not. And it gives you a score out of 100 as to whether you've had a good sleep or not. And the other night I was sleeping with Lottie, and she, for some reason, had set alarms on her watch every half an hour from 3 a.m.
Oh,
I think she'd done it by accident, but
I
it
hope
meant
so.
like by the 4:30 one, so I literally just got back to sleep again at 4:30 after the first two. I was ready to sling the watch and her out of the window, if I'm honest. But the next morning when I looked at my watch, having known that I hadn't been asleep for most of the night, it told me I'd had like 80 out of 100 score, brilliant sleep, well done me. I'm like, why does it think that I've had a good sleep when I've clearly not had a good sleep? So you're not a big fan of the watches, are you, Pat?
personally, I'm not a big fan of the watches. I've not done any good research into it, but what I understand about the brain now, and I read something, um, and this is my perimenopausal brain. I remember reading something about sleep, and if you wake up and in the morning and you're going to work, I've had a terrible night's sleep. I'm so tired. I've had a terrible night's sleep. And you get into work and like, I need a coffee. I've had a terrible night's sleep. What you're doing, and you're just reiterating and making that neural pathway of negativity
Mm,
all day. So you're never going to feel better. Whereas if you can say, well, you've had your sleep, you can't go. There's no real point in looking at it and it telling you.
mm,
What it's doing is activating that kind of part of your brain that's saying there's a problem. There's a
Mm.
problem. I've not had enough sleep. There's a
yeah.
problem. I'm going to be tired today. I've not had enough sleep, so I'm going to be grumpy. I've not had enough sleep, so I'm going to need to eat loads of carbs. I deserve
And
carbs because
yeah,
I'm tired.
and
Yeah.
on top
So
of
it's kind
that,
of activating that
you,
part of your
yeah,
brain that I hate being tired. I hate feeling tired. So speaking personally, I need a lot of sleep. Yeah, I really do.
me
And I
too.
am kind of aware of you know, and I try to be less, not with a watch, I try to be less aware of counting up how many hours I've had. So
Mm,
I do think personally it works for me trying to be less aware of what time I went to sleep and what time I got up and just kind of trying to notice myself more than
yeah.
the actual time. So I
Yeah.
do try and get to bed at a good time because I know what time I need to get up,
Yeah.
but then
Yeah.
try and focus on
Good
not
habits.
as maybe try and not focus on the quality of sleep.
Mm, yeah.
Mm.
Right. Does anyone want to buy a Garmin?
Like I said, this is coming off what I know, not off any
No, but you're right, and it's so funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've been obsessive about steps and sleep and all these things for such a long time, and I suppose I've kind of just about come to the realization that you know your own self, and if you need a watch to tell you that you've had a good or a bad sleep, like I said, I woke up that morning and it said I'd had a brilliant sleep, and I'm like, well, I definitely have been awake since 2:30, so I've not had a good sleep. And then like another night it might say, well done, you've had a great sleep, or you've had not enough REM sleep, and I'm like, I feel like I'm really rested this morning, like. So I suppose it is about going back to basics, really, isn't it? Trusting
I
yourself and
suppose it's like, what can you do about it? Knowing you've had a
mm,
bad night's sleep, there's nothing you can do about it. You would know anyway.
yeah.
So you would
Mm,
know that night maybe
yeah.
to, go to bed a bit earlier. It's a bit like the steps thing. It's brilliant to encourage you, but if you're feeling a bit miserable and you're trying to get 10,000 steps in a day, and you're suffering with um low mood and
Mm,
anxiety, and you don't make your 10,000 steps, you're beating yourself up about it. And
mm,
so it's great for some people, and they're all motivated, and it's all over Facebook and everything else. And you've got somebody that's got anxiety looking at it going,
yeah.
I can't even get
No.
out of it. It makes them feel worse, and that's
Yeah.
not their problem. But there's a time and a place for it, and it works for some people, and it's brilliant. I just think some of the people I meet that come in with a watch and they're tracking everything, it's
Mm,
adding to their anxiety.
Mm,
So I
yeah.
don't
agree.
think an anxious person, a watch telling them everything is helpful.
It's
Yeah.
like Strava as well, putting everything on
Oh,
Strava. And then you're in competition with all other people who are going out for a run and going out for a walk and going out for whatever.
I
Oh,
know.
Just
they
great
just
when
done
you're in
that.
that positive mindset.
Yeah, it
But
is.
I suppose what I'm talking about is the clients I see are coming to see me for a reason. So when
Mm,
they're putting themselves under that extra stress, it's maybe
Mm,
not helpful.
yeah. I think that's absolutely right. And that's definitely speaking from experience. I think I would probably fare better without this bloody watch on. Um,
the
okay.
watch is
Well, I
going.
think I'm just
Should we
checking
give the
time.
watch away as a free gift to someone who's like the
Okay.
2000th listener or something?
Someone who wants to be competitive on Strava.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll do that. So, oh no, do I want to give my watch away
Don't,
to
I
someone?
know, don't, I'm joking. It's a joke.
You
I
don't
was
want to give
about
your
to go
watch
in.
away, Katie.
I was
Please
about to
don't.
fully commit then. If someone can actually send us a really good story or something that we can read out on the podcast next week, then yeah, maybe I'll consider it. But it has to be worth it. And we'll see. I'll be the
I
judge of
like this.
it.
Jeopardy.
I know, yeah. So we are going to end our main episode there because we want to keep Pat and talk to her on our Crisis Talks episode on Wednesday. So I don't want to exhaust her. She needs to keep her energy levels nice
My
and
nervous
high.
system's very high at the minute. I need to go and do some relaxation.
Maybe we'll end with some relaxing breathing. Um, so Pat, where can people find you?
So I'm on Instagram with which is rebound underscore hypnotherapy. I'm on Facebook, which I think is rebound hypnotherapy. I'm on LinkedIn, which is Pat Wilson, because I do I can do corporate work and well-being days. I don't just work one-to-one. So, and I've got a website with reboundhypnotherapy.co.uk. I should have checked all that before I've come on, really.
Oh, it's fine. What we can do is we can link it all in the show
Yes.
notes at the bottom, and people can go and find you there. So we thought it would be nice for people who've made it through the podcast to maybe offer them a little discount or perhaps an opportunity to have an initial conversation with you. So are you happy for that to happen?
Yep. So if you've listened to the podcast all the way through and you would like a copy of the relaxation track, you can just drop me a WhatsApp or go through the website and fill out like an inquiry form, and I can send you a copy of the relaxation track. Just make sure you've no history of psychosis, I would do due diligence to make sure you were okay to listen to it. And an initial consultation, I will take 20% off that initial consultation if you've listened and you would like an initial consultation. So
Perfect. So you have to mention the podcast when you do that to get you 20% off.
mention
Um,
stress buckets.
I mentioned stress buckets, and Pat will test you to see that you've listened to the whole podcast. She will ask you
Yeah,
certain
Oh, I will.
timestamps what we talked about. Oh,
Absolutely.
fabulous. I am so glad that we got to do this.
yeah, me too.
Thank
And
you for having me.
it's not the end. We'll talk to you again in crisis talks, but thank you very much, Pat. It's been lovely, and it's so nice to hear your story as well. I think
Mm.
that we said this last time round from
Yeah,
the perspective of what we've talked about, and we talked a lot about freedom, financial freedom, retirement, and all of those things
yeah.
previously. It really gives you a bit of food for thought, doesn't it?
It does.
Perspectives.
So we
Mm.
shall say goodbye, and we'll see everyone again on Wednesday. And yeah, have a lovely rest of the week, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for
Thank you.
listening.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.